Bonjour, everyone. Hi, this is Neshi Lokotz. Welcome to the Spiritual Roundtable right here on our main fan page for Star Nations on Facebook. And you know what? And it's powered by our partners at Be Live TV. Yeah, I like Be Live TV. Why? Because we can do kind of cool things like this. It's fun. It really is fun, and it brings another layer, another dimension to the shows that we have here at Star Nations for live stream shows. Did you know that we have 13 live stream shows throughout the month, and that's with 10 live stream show hosts. We cover a lot of ground. We really do. And we are a global company that offers assistance to those that are in our spiritual community, right? And who is our spiritual community? You guys, all of you out there. Yeah, and for instance, this show, the Spiritual Roundtable. The Spiritual Roundtable is all about a spiritual conversation that's sparked by the divination cards that I draw in the morning. I connect to my spiritual team and I ask them to please come close and to show me what is the most important energy that's flowing today that we should know about, should be aware about, and that can help us with our spiritual growth, our soul contract, to help us to have that clarity that brings those aha moments, right? That insight, right? And so that makes our conversation here at the Spiritual Roundtable, I believe, really not just interesting, but helpful. Helpful in our spiritual growth. A lot of times there's a lot of validation going on, right? So welcome to those that are in the live chat with me. I'm so glad you're here with me. And for those, I'll be watching this by the recorded live stream. Thank you for making time in your day to watch the recording. I do appreciate it. And you know what? We all of us hosts, we use our recordings, the recorded shows to watch too, because we can't make it to everyone's show when they have it on for lots of different reasons. And so many times what we end up doing is watching a recorded show from one of our colleagues later in the day or even the next day. And so thank you so much for doing that. Yep. And before we get too far down the road, because otherwise I'll forget, I'm going to take my phone and I am going to go to our live stream and I am going to send it over to my newsfeed. I'm just checking something here. It is okay, it is public. You know, Facebook is changing some things. I don't know if you guys have noticed, but there's some things that used to be in a certain spot that's not there anymore, and that kind of stuff. I just ran into one of those. All right, so I'm going to send it over to my newsfeed just to remind my friends that I'm live streaming, and I would invite you to do the same thing, is to send this live stream over to your newsfeed, or maybe even to a friend or two to share it with them individually. Somebody that you might think would find it interesting or maybe even helpful, right? So I'm live streaming. And then I'm going to ask them to please join us. And there we go. That's one. And I'm going to send it over to one of our closed groups, the Star Nations live stream closed group, so that we remind the peeps that I'm live streaming. And then asking them to please join us. There we go. We'll get that posted. There. That works, right? That works. George is with me today, our 1-year-old puppy. I don't know. Can you still call a 1-year-old a puppy? I don't know. He certainly acts like it. He was at puppy daycare yesterday, and usually the day after, he sleeps. Of course, he slept a lot last night and most of the day today. And when I was getting ready to come up here, I asked him if he wanted to go to work with me. He didn't have to. Oh, I got to sneeze. And I have no Kleenex. Wait, hold it. Excuse me. Allergies. 'Tis the season, right? Anyway, George he decided to come with me, and so he's sleeping underneath the table where I have my laptop and the studio is set up. And his job, and I asked him if he wanted to do this because he really wanted to have a job. And I asked him, we must have had him maybe a month or two. He was like maybe 2 months old, 2.5 months old. I asked him if he wanted to come to work with me and to help hold the energy for the group. And that's why he lays underneath the table, because that's his job. And he does a pretty good job too. So I want to check to see who's in the chat. It looks like Rochelle's here. Hi, Rochelle. Hey, how you doing? Oh, good. Thank you for the reminder. One of the things that we've been doing since last December on this show is to remind each other to do our daily grounding. It says most people, the method that they use for grounding, we need to do at least twice a day, once in the morning and once in the evening. And being grounded is really, really helpful when we're taking in spiritual information consciously, like when you're watching one of these shows. And so if you haven't done your grounding today, you might want to pause just for a moment and do your grounding before we actually get into the cards, the information, and have that conversation so that you are in an optimal place to take in the information that's meant for you. Okay. So thanks for the reminder, Rochelle. It's always good. It's always good to see you in the chat. Hey, by the way, I did get your phone message. Thank you so much. I'll get in touch with you later this afternoon after the live stream, okay? All right. Let's see. Where do we want to go from here? Maybe right into the cards, huh? George just moved. That means I can actually scoot up closer to the table. There we go. He's such a good boy. He's a big boy. I don't know. You guys want to see him? Careful. There's George. He's trying to find another place to lie down. Can't really see him. Oops. Go this direction. Hi, George. That was George. Hello, Georgie. Yeah, everybody's saying hi to you. Yeah, got him so close that his nose looked really big, right? Sorry, guys, for those who get motion sickness. I apologize. Moving it around too fast. Hi, Georgie. He's such a good boy. All right, so I'll fix my camera again. Yeah, he was playing so hard yesterday at puppy daycare. He came home and he was kind of stiff. He must have had a good time. All right, so the cards today. The deck that we're using is called the White Eagle Medicine Wheel deck. And the author's name is Wananichi. I don't know if I'm pronouncing that correctly. He happens to be a medicine person. The author, about the author in the back of the book, it says that his mother is an Ojibwa, also known as Anishinaabe, and his father was Lakota, and that he descends from a long line of medicine men and shamans. And that he says that he's one of the few Native Americans willing, that's the key word there, willing to share the original wisdom of the old way of life. Oh my gosh, I got to sneeze again. I don't know. I did take my medication this morning. Hang on. Ugh. Allergies. Who else in the house has allergies? And I took it today too, Zyrtec. And usually it does the trick. It looks like he does quite a bit of teaching abroad too. Yeah. So the perspective that the information from the cards that it's coming from the author is coming from a blend of the Ojibwa, which is those people originally east of the Mississippi, and the Lakota are from the west of the Mississippi, right? And so you have Western medicine and Eastern medicine coming together in this. And actually, a lot of that is me. Because the Potawatomi Nation is found east of the Mississippi, and they're actually they're known as the three brothers: the Potawatomi, the Ojibwa, and the Ottawa. And so my mom actually has the same or similar ancestry as this author, and so that gets passed down to me, right? The ancestry. So yeah, it's bringing together the medicine or the knowledge, the wisdom of those nations east of the Mississippi, and also those nations, the Lakota Nation from the west of the Mississippi. And so that's why I find the information fascinating and very relatable. Very relatable. I'm going to turn off the scroller. There we go. And we'll get into the cards. Now, this is going to seem a little strange, okay? The first card that came today is Bear. Bear. This happens to be a skull of a female bear, okay? And the line going down the center, which is a natural line, actually, on the skull, but it's highlighted with red ink paint. And it's supposed to symbolize the coming of light or spirit into the darkness. And down at the bottom is that's beadwork. Let's see if I can get it to, there we go. That's beadwork for an image of a bear on a medallion. Yeah. And so the skull would normally be used in ceremony, usually. Sometimes it's used for a specific kind of healing, okay? Yeah. Bear. And the words associated with this card is power, wisdom, dreams, and visions. Power, wisdom, dreams, and visions. Okay. And I have to say that when I first sat with the card, it actually kind of reminded me of a book series that maybe some of you have read. I have, Clan of the Cave Bear. It's fiction, but it's really based on a lot of really good anthropological information. And that the Clan of the Cave Bear, right, is, the medicine man or the shaman, if you will, for the clan had been injured by a cave bear, which means that it took on the power. It just became a power animal for the medicine man. And drawing on the wisdom of the ancestors, the ancient ones, and knowing and learning how to carry that very big energy of the cave bear, right? That's what this reminded me of. And so the bear energy or the bear medicine is a very big energy. When you think about the size of a bear, right? And what we know about bears in general, because there's many species within the family of bear, right? It's like many clans within bear. And so, there's one thing that always comes around, especially with hunters, hunters. They always say, that the bear are more afraid of you than you are of them, and that they don't generally spend a lot of time with other two-leggeds, the humans, unless the humans are feeding them, right? And they have become more habituated, I would say, conditioned to be around humans because of the way we live. Um, there's many cities, many towns that do have bear come right into town because of, where do we put our garbage? We put it out on the street. We put it in cans, with the lid on them, like that's supposed to keep out anything. Um, and when you're camping, they say that you're supposed to put your food at a distance, so that if a bear comes in, it wants the food. It doesn't really want you. It wants the food, right? And so what we know about the bear is that the female bear is very protective of their young, very protective. There's another rule of thumb is that you never want to get between a mother bear and its baby, you know. And technically, there a lot of us are that way, right? We are very protective over our young, generally speaking, and so what we know about bear, um, depending on what kind of belief system you have regarding the medicine wheel, because there's one medicine wheel, but there's many interpretations to it. And so lots of times you'll find bear, the medicine of bear, placed in the west or in the north. And why is that? It's because the bear, the stereotype of a bear, right, is that it hibernates. It gathers some food and goes into a den when it starts to get cold, and it goes to sleep, right? And in that sleep, they say that the spirit bear travels. The females have their babies while they're sleeping there in that hibernation. Um, and so bear is quite a symbol. And it'd be interesting to know if anybody in the chat has bear for either a totem or a power animal. Yeah. Rochelle says, great book and movie. Yeah. Did you read the whole series, Rochelle? Because it's really, really good. Let's see, I think I have two of the books in actual book form, the hard copy. And I think there's four in the series, and I have two that are digital. Hey, Jocelyn's here. Hey, Jocelyn, good to have you here. Yeah, I would like to read the other ones. I would suggest it. They're really good. I liked them. And so, Edward just popped in. Hi, Edward Raven Colvin. Hello. Well, it's good to have you back, Edward. It's good to have you back. We're talking, this is the first card today. Bear. And here's what the author has to say. It says, if bear lumbers your way, it's telling you that you have the gift of insight and the ability to access your dreams and visions, provided you give yourself moments of meditation and quiet to discover them. You may have the gift of healing. This can come in many ways, but make sure you work on your own healing too. Remember, balance activity with rest. It also says that put your dreams into action. Maybe you need to reveal deep-seated emotions for healing. Walk softly with bear. Harvest your strength and use your intuition to find the right path. May bear's wisdom bless you. Okay. And so when I was reading it this morning and sitting with it, what jumped out at me really was the sentence that said, the gift, you have the gift of insight and the ability to access your dreams and your visions, provided that we give ourselves time to do that, right? Quiet time. Because there's one thing that I hear quite often, is from others, is that I don't think I have a spiritual team. I never hear them. They never show me anything. I don't think I have one. And my usual reply to them is that everyone has a spiritual team. Everybody does. And whether or not you hear them, see them, sense them, they're still there. They're still there. And so what you need to do is turn your awareness or focus to something that seems out of the ordinary, right? Out of the ordinary. And then turn your attention to your team and ask them for more information. And it could come to you in many different ways. It could come to you in signs and synchronicities. It can come to you when you're doing the most mundane activity, vacuum cleaning, washing the dishes, mowing the lawn, shoveling snow. It's when the mental mind is busy doing something else. And so that your intuition part of you, your heart, your soul, is more accessible to you. Or actually, it's the reverse. Your soul has more access to the conscious part of you. Right? Yeah. And so that we all have the ability to have access to our dreams and to our visions. And that you may have the gift of healing. And here, this is another place that I really believe that we all have a gift of healing, that we came in with that as one of our gifts. Now, it may be on a continuum, right? You may be one of those people who, you walk into a situation and somebody's not feeling well, and you're the calm voice in the crowd. It's like, okay, let's have her sit down. That's your healing gift, is to be calm during a situation. Okay, you might not have the gift of hands-on healing, but what you have is the ability to be calm and to calm others. Right? That's really important. And then all the way to the other side of the continuum, where you may be one of those healers that you have the creator energy running through you and through hands-on healing. And like as one of my friends, client, one of the, kind of threw me there for a minute. Okay, so one of my friends, a long time ago, said that when she was little, what she noticed about her gifts was that all she had to do was touch somebody and they felt better, right? So she literally would take their pain and run it through her down into the earth, and she knew how to do that as a child. Okay, so we all have a way of being a healer, and it's on this continuum. So you're somewhere in between those two, right? You might not be even consciously aware of it, but it's there. Okay, that's my belief anyway. I'd like to know what others are feeling in the chat. Do you believe that you're a healer? Hey, Teresa's here. Hi, Teresa. Just came on, but Bear has come to me in different periods of my life. Yeah. There's many different beliefs around Bear, right? There's the belief that the bear is protector. There's also a belief that Bear is part of the warrior societies because of the brave heart, right? The courage. Yeah. And, depending on, and since Bear has come to you in different parts of your life, Teresa, it is either a totem for you or a power animal for you. And so either way, it's very helpful to you. A totem is something, is an energy, a medicine that is with you your entire life. It came in with you when you were born, and when you take your last breath and return back into spirit, it'll be with you on that last breath, and then it's released, just like you are. Okay? And then the power animal will come into your life for a certain time, depending on what life lesson you're working on, and how long it takes you to learn that life lesson. The power animal will be with you until you actually get through the life lesson. So that's kind of cool, I think, that you have Bear with you. She goes on to say that Bear has come to me during times I need to take time and introspection, a time of hibernation. Absolutely. Because isn't that one of the things a bear is known for, right? Is that time of year where they go quiet and they go within, right? Anywhere between November to February, March, depending on how cold it is. When it starts to warm up, closer to that freezing temperature, they'll be in hibernation. They'll be sleeping. Yeah, and since Bear has come to you so often, Teresa, one of the things that I always suggest is that yes, we get to know them for the metaphysical, the esoteric meaning behind them, and what they bring to us, right? But to also get to know their habitat, right? What they eat, how they raise, when do they have their babies? When do they conceive their babies? What kind of food do they eat, and what are their hunting areas? Are they bears are omnivores? And so what do they eat? When do they eat? Why? Why do we need to know that? Is because we can draw on the archetype of bear, the spirit of bear or an animal. That is one of our power animals. And so the more we know them, the better we know how to utilize their medicine. That makes sense? Yeah, I think so. Brings us closer to them too. It's like getting to know a good friend, right? Our good friends that we spend time with, we know their favorite color, we know their birth date, we know how many children they had, usually know when they had their children. We usually know if they like tea or coffee or both, if they take real sugar or stevia, if they're gluten intolerant, or if they're diabetic, or we know a lot about our friends, right? So our power animals and our totems are very similar to that. The more we know about them, the stronger we are in that relationship. It's like nurturing it. Mhm. And Jocelyn's saying, living where I do, I get to see bear and smell them often. They come through my yard. Yeah, they have when the bear's around, because they have a very strong scent, especially the male bear. Hmm. Bear country. Yeah. Teresa's saying, yes, I believe I'm a healer. Love that about bear. Thank you. It seems to always be late fall and winter. Yes. Yeah. And so to nurture that relationship, right? To nurture that, because as a power animal, they're an ally to us. And literally, when they're a power animal, we can invite them in to us, right? And take on some of their characteristics when we need them. When we need them, right? So when you're doing your introspection, is to call on bear to come and help you to be able to be in the quiet, right? Because a lot of us, we find it difficult to quiet the busy mind. A lot of people say, "Oh, I can't meditate. I just, my mind, it's a monkey mind. I just can't meditate." Um, yeah, that's the truth, right? But we have tools, we have help with that, and so you can call on Bear to help you with it. Rochelle says, I am a healer of some sorts. Basically, I feel I do whatever the spirit shows me what to do. Using very light touch is very important. Yeah. Yeah. And that's really good, Rochelle. that you're listening to the guidance, you're asking your team to show you, right? And so in order to do that, generally speaking, you're in your heart when you're doing that. And I say generally speaking because not everybody is doing it from their heart. Some people do it from their ego because they want to be known as this great healer, right? And I'm sure you've run into a few of those. All right. So, Bear. Here, Edward's saying something. He says, not many Bear in Liverpool, UK. No, that's true. That's true. But you have your ancestors who were very connected to Bear. Very connected to Bear. Right? And even in that area of the world is where they did have the cave bear. Those really huge, giant ones, right? And so even though you don't have them physically there with you now, your ancestors certainly knew them, which means that wisdom lies within you as well, right? So calling to your ancestors to show you your connection to Bear. What was it like for your ancestry and their connection to Bear? I know that druids have a certain connection to Bear. And when I look at this picture, this card, and showing the skull, it carries the energy, the spirit of the bear. That's why they use it in the ceremony, right? We can call the bear anytime, but as soon as you have its physical existence with you, like in the skull or with the skull, that it amplifies that energy. And our ancestors used skulls like this in their ceremonies and certain ceremonies for healing. Yeah. And so for you, Edward, I would suggest that you tap into your ancestry and have them show you the connection to Bear from that perspective, because you still carry it in your blood and your bones, right? And so yeah, tap into that. And Edward, do you have access to Druid information? Because that's, if you don't, connect with Mervyn Kelly. He's one of our show hosts here on Star Nations. The name of his show is From Star to Stone, and it's on the second Tuesday of every month, except for this month. See, Mervyn takes care of his elderly mom, and he needed to get her into a doctor on Tuesday. So his show that would have aired on Tuesday, he's going to do live this coming week on Tuesday at 9 a.m. Eastern time. And I think that's 2 p.m. your time in the UK, I think. Yeah. All right. So we have Bear. Oops. Take that down. So for the first card, we have Bear. It says, walk softly with Bear, harvest your strength, and use your intuition to find the right path, the optimal path for you. Okay. So, and then the second card that came made me smile. Made me smile. Dog. So words associated with this card is intelligence, loyalty, and friendship, right? Dog. Yeah. All right. So I was curious about, what is that? Those wooden poles with that thing stretched across it. It says the wooden poles are tied to a harness worn by dog, and the goods are securely tied to the wide support. It's for a travois. That's what that represents, a travois. And so in the early days here on Turtle Island with Native Americans, we didn't have horse for a very long time, but we've always had wolf. And the wolf became domesticated, right? It stayed with two-leggeds for long periods of time, and they meant to be part of the family, part of how everybody pitches in, right? And so they would literally drag the travois. It's when they were moving from one location to another. So it basically helped his people move from one home spot to another. And dog, I tell you, there's nothing like coming home and having your pet meet you at the door, your dog meet you at the door, all happy to see you, right? Unconditional love. And you could have only been gone 5 minutes and just came back in and they're all excited to see you again, right? And loyal, yeah. When you make that bond with a dog, you are very, very close, very close. I'm with George every day, all day long. And yes, we play a lot, doing training. Sometimes we don't get along. Sometimes he's gotten into something and has torn it up, and I'm like, no, not that one. But generally speaking, they make our life a bit happier, right? And so there's that loyalty, but they're also a part of our protection, right? And George is still pretty young, but he's I wouldn't say aggressively protective, but he will get between me and like when the postman comes to drop off a box or something, and yes, he's excited to see the post guy too, but as soon as the postman either passes me the package or puts his hand on the door handle, George stands between me and the postal worker, and he sits between us. Right now, he's not aggressive or anything, but he's basically helping me hold a boundary, right? And so dog can be both a power animal and also a birth totem. Many times we don't think about our domestic animals, our domestic relatives that way, right? We only think of the something that lives in the wild that can be our power animals or totems. Yeah. All right. I'm looking at where I left off in the chat to get caught up with you guys. Okay. Edward says, true, glad you speak typos. I know. Hey, sometimes our fingers are faster than what our brain's engaged in. Yeah. And Edward says, my mom's family are from the Isle of Man. Druid links there, but we'll check. Yeah. Do that. I think you're going to be really pleasantly surprised. And probably a confirmation for what you're already experiencing. It does look like a border collie, doesn't it, Jocelyn? It does. And just think, this is beadwork, artistry through beadwork. Yeah. Like I said, I know how to do beadwork. It's not my cup of tea, but I know how to do it. Well, hi. I'm glad you found us. Are you still here, Judy? Because your post came through, your comment came through. I'm glad you're here if you're still here. So let's find out what the author has to say about dog. It says that if dog has come bounding up, perhaps you need reminding of the loyalty and support due to your family and friends. Or perhaps you're the one needing help at this time. Be alert and call for protection from those loyal to your interests. Dog says it's often better to work as a team than to try to be a lone wolf. Right? In other words, we have to nurture our friendships, right? We have to nurture that. We have to take a look at how we treat those people, others, not just two-leggeds, but others in our lives, right? In your inner circle, those that are closest to you, is there a balance of giving and receiving, right? That that there's respect there, right? And your loyalty. Yeah. Because every relationship needs to be nurtured. Everyone, every single one of them. If it's not being nurtured, it doesn't have the energy to thrive, and so it'll just go away naturally, right? And so if there are friendships there that you feel like this isn't a balance here, that you're in a position where you're always giving, right? And when you try to do the reciprocal and call on them, and they're always busy, or they don't return your calls, or that kind of thing. Yeah. Then we have to take a look at that, right? Yeah. And it doesn't matter that maybe they're just not meant to be part of your inner circle. Maybe they're one of those people who are more in the periphery, right? And so when you do see them, you can be happy to see them, much like when our dogs greet us at the door. They're happy to see us. But it doesn't mean that that acquaintance is in your inner circle, right? Yeah, and I think that sometimes the energy of dog can help us with our boundaries, right? To help when we set a boundary, they can help us to keep it enforced. Right? George, he's such a good boy. He knows we're talking about him. He just gave me a kiss. All right. And so one of the other things the author has to say about dog is that don't take your friends for granted, and don't allow them to take you for granted. Their loyalty must be earned. Dog may also be warning you that there is some form of danger in your immediate area. Use dog's alertness and fine senses to sniff out where it's coming from, right? And so there's that protection element there. Dogs, oh my gosh, dogs, their sense of smell is, 100 times, 1,000 times better than ours is, right? Their hearing is so keen and so acute. Their eyesight is better than ours too, but it's not one of their strengths, right? And so many times they'll tell us what's going on if we're watching them. They've already heard it before we even see it. They smell it long time before it even shows up, right? So if we're watchful, they can teach us a lot, and they can be there for us before we even know we need it. I know, isn't it though? That medallion, it is pretty. Rochelle says, I'm purchasing a Native American flute tomorrow. You are? I'm excited. Been looking for a walnut flute for years. Well, good for you, Rochelle. Good for you. Yep. Let's see. I have a beginner's flute. I think it's in the key of F, if I remember right. It's probably about 14 inches long or so, maybe a little bit longer than that, 16. I haven't played it in a long time. Yeah, it's not the easiest thing to play. It takes practice. And you'll certainly learn about controlling your breath Taking those big, deep breaths in is really going to be helpful. Good for you, Rochelle. Good for you. Send us a picture of it or do a little recording, a little video of it. That'd be great. All right. So how does dog, the spirit energy of dog, relate to the energy of bear? How does that come together, right? For today. Bear was all about our intuition, accessing our dreams and our visions, right? It was about nurturing ourselves. It was about knowing when to rest, right? To have that balance between work and rest. So with bear and dog, here, I'm going to show you both of them, both cards. And so, call your entire team to your spiritual team, call to them, have them come close and ask them to help you to take in the information that's meant for you through the essence or the spirit of the cards in an optimal way. Okay. So this is one of the reasons why it's important to be grounded, is to be able to take in this kind of information in an optimal way. Okay. And so then go ahead and take a big, deep breath in. Okay. And then on the exhale is taking in the information both in the seen and unseen. Right. Right. And so the energy coming from bear and the message for us today, I believe, has everything to do with how we utilize and take in our visions and our dreams, our intuition. That we all have the ability to have visions, to have dreams, to have intuition. Right? And that we can call on Bear to help us to be in those quiet moments in order to take in the information that Spirit is sending to us, to understand it, and how we can use it for our soul growth. And I believe that dog comes, the energy, the spirit of dog comes in to remind us on how to nurture our relationship with our spirit animals, our powered animals, our totems, our guides, our angels, our team. Right? You know what? Our spiritual teams have an immense loyalty to us. They have unconditional love for us. They're here to cheer us on, to encourage us, to assist us. Right? And those relatives and those friends of ours, all our relation that's all the way around us, dog can help us to tap into, nurture those relationships. So that we are a good friend. And we recognize a good friendship, a loyalty when it's presented to us. Yeah. I think today is just a really good reminder that we're not alone. We're never alone. And that Spirit is here to help us. And when we're going through a life lesson, when we're going through the integration of that life lesson, or when we're applying the wisdom that we just gained from that life lesson, our spiritual team is with us every step of the way. You might even say every breath. They're right here with us. And so we can call on them to help us to understand. And much like Rochelle said, is she, using her healing gifts, is that she allows spirit to guide her. She's basically asking them, show me how. What do I do now? What's next? How can I best do this? Those are all really good questions for our spiritual team when they're right there with us all the time, right here, right now. When I ask you to call to them and bring you and ask them to come to you, honestly, that is just our mental mind, right? That we're instructing our mental mind to be consciously aware of it. Because at a soul level, we already know they're already here. They never leave us. We're never alone. They're right here with us all the time. But when we call to them, it's in a conscious way. It's in a conscious way. And to nurture and develop that relationship with them. Yeah. Do you have to know every single one of their names? No. It would be good to recognize their energy when they come in to help, right? But it's not necessary. It really is about having faith that they're there and nurturing that relationship. Yeah, I think it's pretty good. It's a good reminder for all of us, I think. It's a good one. All right. Well, I don't know. I'm so glad you guys hung out with me today. Really, I am. With my allergies away, I don't know what's going on here. I already took my Zyrtec. It should have cleared up. But my voice isn't exactly the same today. All right. And Edward is saying, strength and loyalty combined, bear and dog, amazing energy. Absolutely. Absolutely. And, like I said, I think it's just a really good reminder for us today. Don't you think, Edward? It's a good reminder that we have this with us already. It's right here, right now. We just have to turn our awareness to it and nurture that relationship. George, what you doing? Come here. Come here. He's up and walking around, and I don't know. He's got that look on his face. It's like, what can I get into now? So I'm just going to bring him closer and give him a treat. He does like his good goodies. Come here, George. You guys sit. Oh boy. All right. So, the spiritual roundtable is on Sunday through Thursday. So today's my last day this week for live stream for spiritual roundtable. So the next time we get to do this again is on Sunday afternoon at 3 p.m. Eastern time. And so I look forward to that. I enjoy spending time with you guys and sharing the message that comes through right from Spirit. It's the highlight of my day, really. And so anything that was shared today in the conversation about bear and dog or anything else that was shared, if it resonated with you, my suggestion is that you embrace it, right? And then watch, see, sense, feel how today's energy is unfolding around you and where you could possibly use this information that was shared today, right? And if it didn't resonate with you, don't worry about it. It's okay. Really, it is. Maybe you're a messenger, right? And you might know somebody that you can share the recorded show with. And that was why you were here. Isn't that nice, right? Yeah. And there's always the cards on Sunday. You never know. You never know. And so the next shows that are coming up this coming week, well, we still have Polyjola Bay and for chakra sessions, and also for soul connections, right? My Tuesday night show, Communications from Home, this coming week, I think it's on the 20th. I think that's Tuesday. There's a couple things that we're going to be covering. We're going to be talking about remembering, right? Remembering. That we already have so much available to us, but accessing it, right? Accessing it. That's the key. And the other thing that we're going to be talking about is that is actually the day that is targeted to publish the iTunes and Google version of Star Nations magazine is on Tuesday the 20th. It's a little bit later this month because our partners at Magcast, they're the ones who help us with converting the text into digital form, and for your iPhones and for your smartphones and your tablets. And they were hacked about 3 weeks ago, and so now they're getting caught up. They're doing a really good job at it, really. They're rebuilding, right? And they're also restoring. There's some things that they can restore and other things that they have to build from scratch again. There goes George. And so we're able to get back into the platform to publish for Apple and Google. And so I've set the date, the 20th of August, to have that version of the magazine published. Now, the magazine is already published, but it's published through our other partners at Mag Cloud, and they're the ones that provide it as a print on demand and a PDF or a web viewer version. And so the magazine is out there if you'd like to get it. But if you have a subscription, the magazine is coming out on the 20th. All right. And I'll give you another reminder about that. All right. So with that, enjoy the rest of your Thursday. And we'll be back here on Sunday at 3 p.m. Eastern time for the Spiritual Roundtable. Okay. All right. So got to turn that one off. Bama Mina, that's in Potawatomi, and that means until we see each other again. Love you guys.